Welcome back. And we're in a very interesting conversation with financial analyst and expert Edward Dowd. So let's bring him back in. Edward, when we left, I was thinking to myself when we broke in the first segment, having worked, as I said before, in the insurance industry, I was very sensitive to these companies' sensitivity around paying big death benefit. And I know you've talked about Lincoln Financial. They have some incredible numbers. Are these companies noticing it? And maybe talk about that as an example.
Sure. So does the insurance industry know what I know?
Yeah.
What's interesting is my partner, Josh Sterling, he worked on Wall Street as an insurance analyst for Sanford Bernstein. He was anonymous for a little bit, but he's come forward. We sent out letters to 100 CEOs in April of this year. And we invited them to a call with the doctors who had a different narrative. And we pointed out to them some of the CDC data that we discovered early on, which has been confirmed by the Society of Actuaries in August. We only got about 25 people on the call. No CEOs came. They sent some of their lower echelons along. And we had a chat. Of that, there's about 5 or 6 people now that are working with Josh anonymously to bring this issue to the forefront. The problem is, there's still a lot of denial going on. You have to remember, a lot of these insurance executives mandated it for their employees and can't even wrap their minds around that this would be as devastating as it is. So at first they were blaming COVID. Now COVID's over because of Omicron. Now they're blaming long COVID. But some companies are starting to take note, and there is some action underneath the scenes. But unfortunately, not enough. They're not quick enough for us. Lincoln Financial reported a really devastating charge they had to take on what's called universal life. And this is a policy. It's not like whole life or term life. You get to cancel it if you want to, depending upon how healthy you are and whether or not you've accumulated enough wealth. These are big policies. What's going on is the lapse rate, which Lincoln Financial calculated, over historical periods, plummeted. So that means people are extending their life insurance policies, which is bad for Lincoln Financial financially. And why are they doing that? Well, they're probably getting sick or disabled. So, morbidity leads mortality, as you know. So people are becoming sick, saying, ruh-roh, I'm not canceling this. I got cancer. I got something. I got a heart issue. And so this leads mortality. So disabilities, we're finding, lead mortality. And so Lincoln Financial just took a big hit on this. They didn't blame COVID, and I don't know what they blamed, but they certainly didn't blame the vaccines. And so what's going on is the insurance industry is mispricing all their risk right now because they think as a group that excess mortality and excess claims are going to trend back towards normal over the next several quarters. That's not happening. It's not happening.
Wow. They're going to be in for a bit of a surprise. So they were hoodwinked a little bit too in this whole, I call it the global mass genocide operation. Going back to the book a little bit, let's talk about this sort of the elephant in the room for celebrities. I mean, you highlight celebrity deaths and the athletes. And of course, we all are pretty much aware of what happened to the NFL player on Sunday, Damar Hamlin, collapsing. We don't know for sure, but I'm speculating that he probably was jabbed because the NFL really shamed publicly those who didn't want to take it or sought exemptions. And we didn't hear anything about Damar Hamlin trying to get out of it. So, it's a fair assumption. It's my own assumption, but celebrities, young athletes, the numbers are off the charts. Tell us about that in terms of 2021 compared to other years where athletes died.
Sure. So the book tries to highlight the human face of this. Yeah. And then we get into the metadata. And, as a guy that looks at metadata, every one of those numbers represents a human life. And it's really devastating. And we try in the book to start with the sudden athletic deaths, because that's what really got me interested in this journey. And because we'd never seen, anecdotally, I knew that this was not normal. And that's what got me curious about this new trend. So it's in the book, and there's some math around this. So there's a often cited study called the Lausanne study. Now, it's not comprehensive, but it's as comprehensive as we're going to get. And they documented 1,101 deaths over 38 years, sudden athletic deaths under age 35, on or close to the field. And if you divide that by 38, that's averages to about 29 a year. Okay. So what have we experienced since 2021? We'd be lucky to have a month with just 29 sudden athletic deaths. In I think November, we had over 100. In December of 2021, we had 90, and the tally continues. So this is not normal, and it's true. First, is it true, and is it normal? No. So we established that, and then you see all these celebrities with these strange ailments and dropping on stage. This is something that didn't happen before. I'm just sorry. Mm-hmm. Then when you roll it up to my metadata, that's the story. And that the numbers are the numbers. So when you talked about the NFL player on Monday, my public comment is I don't comment on individual cases, but I do comment on metadata. And the metadata suggests that something is going on across the country and the globe that's causing sudden cardiac arrest in lots of supposedly the supremest and fittest amongst us. Now, just imagine what's going on with those who are not supreme fit athletes. And you can guess where I'm going with that. It's worse.
Sure, absolutely. And you also talk about the European data, the all-cause mortality. Do you have corollaries over there, cohorts? Are they seeing their own all-cause either in their athletes? We've heard about their athletes for months now. Are they seeing it? Are they pulling back?
Well, we saw in Europe early on, soccer appears to be one of the most cardio-intensive sports, I've been told. You run the whole game, you never stop, and you just keep going, going, going. So we saw a lot of deaths last year in 2021 in Europe first before it came over here to the U.S. But it's going on globally. The European data basically tells one story. There was a mix shift from old to young across all countries in terms of excess mortality. That's the story that we see. Then if you want to talk about the UK, there's a smoking gun we found because they provided vaccine data, which a lot of countries didn't. So there is a smoking gun with children in the UK. And the children of the UK were not vaccinated until November of 2021. That's when the vaccine was available for them. Curiously enough, we examined age groups 1 through 14 in the UK, and their excess mortality actually declined during 2020 and 2021. Why? Well, lockdowns and remote schooling caused less activity. And the biggest cause of death in that age group is usually accidental.
Correct.
So less activity caused their excess mortality to drop during 2020 and 2021 until October, November of 2021 in the UK. Mysteriously and suddenly, when vaccines were introduced, the excess mortality started to rise. It was still negative, but it started to go back up. So the slope was like this, and then vaccines come, it goes like that. So that's a smoking gun. And now, as more and more data comes in, I mean, you can look on our website. You can look at different age groups, and you can find this to be true across a number of different countries. Yeah,
you've really done a nice job on the website. Can you remind me of the website? So, folks, we're going to post it also in the show notes. But tell us what the website is with all that great information.
So you go to financetechnologies.com. The F is PH, so it's a play on the golden ratio PHI. So financetechnologies.com, PHINANCE technologies, and then there's a tab called the Humanity Project, which has all our studies. We have all the different disability data for the U.S., the excess mortality for the U.K., Europe. We did Australia, and we do the U.S., and we're going to do Canada next. And we've done Germany as well.
Well, I'm curious, since we're ex-USA talking right now, what about Israel? I mean, they seem to have signed a contract for an exclusive Pfizer. They called it the Petri dish, and they think Albert Bourla is a hero. They've given him their highest humanitarian award, the Genesis Award. Israel's up to 4 or 5 boosters. What are the stats looking like for them?
So there's been studies done by other people that suggest Israel data is horrendous. I can't remember why. I think I was on a conference call with my partners. There might be an issue with the mortality data in Israel. That's why we haven't done it. But I'm sure that's going to be a country we're going to look at as soon as we figure out what's the data issues. But the bottom line is that other people have done the work on Israel, and it's a disaster. Dr. Jessica Rose is she's done a lot of work there.
Yep, absolutely. And it's going to not only is it a petri dish, but it's going to be a statistical, actuarial kind of treasure trove, I would think. But they're probably hiding some of it. Who knows? That's just me. Back to you've had a lot of access, it sounds like, to congressional members, especially Senator Ron Johnson, who has been most visible in his hearings. But do you feel like you're getting through? I mean, I don't see anything happening beyond hearings, and I'm concerned because we're losing our military. I've talked to Lieutenant Colonel Teresa Long countless times for the last year and a half. We're really, our readiness is damaged. So do you think why are they just letting this go on? Our military are dying. The fighter pilots are grounded. Why can't they just shut down the pharma and these federal agencies and get them to come to the table and show all their paperwork and talk about why they're violating their own regulations?
So the problem is this: most of the politicians are bought and paid for by the lobbyists, except Senator Ron Johnson and several others. So their frustration is the fact they can't convince some of their own party members of what's going on because they're just unaware. But the good news is the work that you're doing, everyone's doing, what I'm doing, and the reason I published the book is to wake up the marginal mind. I don't know if you saw the Rasmussen poll, but It seems like we're breaking through to the public. And once we get to a critical mass, the politicians will flip. They'll have to. Once the majority of the population figures out they've just potentially been poisoned, things change. And we don't need the regulators to save us because they're in on it, unfortunately. So we the people have to save us. I call it the marginal mind. Flip a marginal mind, get someone to see the truth. And, this isn't about party. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans. This is about team humanity and preventing a global tragedy from continuing.
Yeah, I know you've talked a lot about, I did see that Rasmussen poll. I thought that was great. That's 40-something% of awareness at a time, even that's in spite of the mainstream media doing everything they can with great power to bury it. So I think it's really very hopeful. And you talk a lot about hope going forward and not to be afraid and to prepare for a rough 5 to 10 years, but that we will get through this. So I didn't want to know if you wanted to say a few words about that.
Absolutely. So, look, I did not get the vaccine, but unfortunately I'm divorced and my children got the first dose and my ex-wife got the first dose. But the good news is that they're not getting any more. They're listening to me. Good. And the other good news is if you did get a vaccine, it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily have a ticking time bomb in you because a lot of these doses were administered improperly. Storage is an issue. If they left it out on the counter too long, it degraded. So you just got goop in your arm. They didn't shake the vial. So there's a lot of reason to be hopeful. And secondly, even if you are worried, there are now protocols to treat vaccines and detoxify you. And flccc.com is one of the places to do that. I'm not affiliated with that, but I trust these guys. It's Dr. Pierre Corey and others.
Yep. So excellent website. Yep. Yeah.
Don't get in fear. Fear is the mind killer. And once you get in fear, you can actually affect your health outcome. So I don't want people freaking out. If you're feeling fine, you probably are, but look at protocols to maybe detoxify yourself. And then secondly, we got a rough sled economically coming the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully only 5. Don't live in fear. We're going to get through this. As long as you keep your head and your mind centered and don't get depressed or anxious, you'll come through this. And there's also opportunities everywhere in times of great trial. And those who freak out are the ones who we have to worry about because they're going to be desperate. And we're not going to be desperate. We're going to have hope, and we're going to be part of the change that's coming. There's a renaissance coming because you cannot get away with this kind of situation without exposing the whole fraud and corruption that I've been seeing since the great financial crisis. I think this is going to blow everything wide open.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we don't know the extent to how God designed the human body and how much it can overcome under the right circumstances and bring people back from these shots. Edward, I wanted to, before we get to more about where to find the book, I wanted to ask you, I did read the book. Thank you for sending it. Took me a little bit less than 2 days, speed reading. But one of the things that caught my eye was at the very end of the book, actually, in the compendium, there's a document that really piqued my interest. It's the Malone Doctrine, and it's actually got some tenets in it that I highly subscribe to. Let me just share some of them. I'm sure you know what they are because you put them in the book. Establish open exchange of information, foster rigorous open debate and scrutiny, stand in opposition to censorship, deny no person the right to challenge, debate, petition, redress, examine, or protest. Dr. Robert Malone has sued me for $25 million for defamation for what he says in his complaint is insulting words. And I'm a little confused about how to reconcile that with a document that he and his wife signed. And it's in your book. Was it your understanding that he's not suing people on our side, or what are your thoughts about that?
I have no idea what he's been doing with his own personal business. The Malone Doctrine was presented to him when he came to Maui by the four authors, myself, Tom Lewis, Barry O'Keefe, and Andrew Acker. We are the architects of the Malone Doctrine. We gave it to him because he had a name in the movement, and he signed it. And I can't comment on what he's doing, but what I can say is the Malone Doctrine was the genesis of four individuals on Maui who wanted to establish integrity as the hill to die on. It's a declaration of independence from institutions that don't have integrity. It's that simple.
I stand with it. I mean, I stand with it. I think it should be maybe possibly renamed. And maybe the Bregans agree with me because he's suing them too. My producer said there's a website I wanted to ask you about. It's called the Malone Institute, and we weren't sure if it was real or not, but we saw that Dr. Malone did talk about it on his verified Twitter. And you're a board member. I wanted to know, is that a real organization, and what can we expect going forward?
Yeah, it's a real organization. I don't think there's any money there because I have not had a board meeting yet. So I joined it in, I think, November or October of 2021.
I see, of 21. It says on the website they've applied to be a 501, but they're not, and they are soliciting funds. So I didn't know if it was up and running or what it was, because it's kind of in black and white. You're one of the three board members, I think. So I wanted to make sure it was real before. No,
it's real. It's real, but I don't believe there's any monies there yet because I haven't had a meeting with them yet about it.
What is the mission? Do you know?
The mission is, I think, twofold. It's to promote the Malone Doctrine and also medical integrity. Okay. I was a little confused by the Malone Doctrine, but we'll work on that later. Edward, I wanted to ask you to just tell the folks how they can get the book, Cause Unknown. It's a great book. It's a really easy read. And I don't know if you want to say a few words about news you missed, that section of the book, because there's a reason why we're not, getting ahead of this thing more quickly with the mainstream media blocking everything. Any words about that and where they can find the book? You can find the book on Amazon. You can also go to my personal website, theyliedpeopledied.com. And you can follow me on Getter at Edward Dowd and or Twitter at Dowd Edward. What was the second question? I just lost my train of thought.
Where they found the book is great, so they can do that. And the website, They Lied, People Died. That's in addition to the finance technology website. I want to make sure people know that. And the news you may have missed. That was a whole section in the book that I thought was fascinating of all these news stories, and nothing ever came of it. And they're serious news stories. We're going to flash, because it's one of the pieces that you sent. Thank you so much. News you missed. There's a great shot of that. So while we're scrolling on that, those news stories, about people who died from the shots, but it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So, as you know, one way to suppress real information, but say you put it out there, is to put out a story but not promote it. So a lot of the news that you missed is real news from real sources, but they just don't highlight it and they don't push it on the social media platforms. So, for instance, lots of people to this day don't know that Pfizer and the FDA together wanted to hide the clinical trial data for 75 years. You'd be surprised the number of people who don't know that. Those of us in the echo chamber, the red meat crowd, we all know that.
Correct.
You'd be surprised. Yeah. So we picked stories that lots of people should have seen that we all saw, but they didn't.
Thank you so much, Edward Dowd. To me, you're an American hero. I've really love your work, and I hope people will follow you, and I hope they'll take that work and continue to wake other people up in this nightmare that we seem to be living through. I'm positive and hopeful like you are. We're going to live through it. So thank you so much for being with me today. Really loved having you.
Dr. Jane, thank you so much for having me on. And I just hope to echo what you just said. There is hope. Don't live in fear.
Yeah, I love your positive take on that, and it kind of keeps me going. So thank you again, and we'll see you hopefully soon.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Have a great day. Well, that's it for this segment of the Dr. Jane Ruby Show. Don't go away, because I'll be back in a few minutes with some parting words. Hi, everyone. Dr. Jane Ruby here. Many of you know that I promote products that I believe in and have vetted, but I also promote products that I use myself. I want to introduce you to Cardio Miracle, the world's best nitric oxide supplement. I'm getting reports from not only the general public, but from experts like Dr. Kevin Stillwagon, a frequent guest on the Dr. Jane Ruby Show. He's a treating doctor and experienced commercial airline captain, and he's reporting that Cardio Miracle is making a difference in reducing the symptoms in the jabbed, protecting people from the effects of the microclotting caused by spike proteins. It's delicious, and I mix one scoop in 8 ounces of water twice a day. For those of you who've taken the jab and are concerned about your cardiac and circulatory health, my conversations with Dr. Kevin Stillwagon and Josh Oder from U.S. Freedom Flyers in an upcoming interview on the Dr. Jane Ruby Show will show you them describing the benefits and the reports they're getting. So check it out at mypowerheart.com. Learn more and try it for yourself. That's Cardio Miracle at mypowerheart.com. Enjoy. According to Dr. Mark Rosenberg, physician and Army vet, the immune system doesn't just keep us healthy and safe. It's literally the master switch for our energy, our clarity, and mobility. So if you're feeling tired, achy, or worn down, there's a good chance that your immune system needs support. Immunity has been the perfect backdoor for trying to take away our freedoms. But now, Dr. Rosenberg's #1 suggestion for supporting your immunity this winter and all the time is BioShield MD with 7 potent flavonoids to deliver targeted immune support by boosting your natural energy levels, improving your mental clarity and mood, and help you experience real joint comfort. Click on the link or go to biomd.info/Jane to check it out now. Thank you for being with me tonight and for supporting the Dr. Jane Ruby Show, always dedicated to truth in medicine. Don't forget to subscribe to my Rumble channel at rumble.com/drjaneruby. And for my late breaking news and medical commentaries, follow me on Telegram at t.me/drjaneruby. Also Gab, Getter, Truth Social, and Twitter. And if you want to support me in my defense against Dr. Robert Malone, who's suing me for $25 million for defamation, please go to my givesendgo.com/protect Dr. Jane. That's givesendgo.com/protect Dr. Jane. Have a blessed evening and a great weekend, and I will see you all back here on Monday.